Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I'm your host, Logan Lee Miller, and I figured today would just be a little bit of a catch up on what has been going in my life. I have been having the best summer, and the official day of summer is not even here yet, So it just I had a feeling that this would be an amazing year. We're only halfway through. If you can believe it, we are in June. That is the 6th month of the year. And it's honestly giving me a little bit of a clarity check on what is going on in my life. And I was reading through some of the letters to myself, some of my journaling, some of my goal setting, notes app. I mean, I love the new thing that's going around is never check a girl's notes app. And it honestly makes me laugh so much because I will write down the most random stuff in my notes app. Honestly, let me grab it. Because I was looking through my goals. I'm always writing down my goals and what I'm doing. So I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. Not show you, I'm gonna read it to you. So I have always had a note in my app called money making ideas, because I think it's really important to keep yourself open to making money. You never know when you will be able to implement an idea. So it could be really random things, open a bakery. That could be a money making opportunity. There's a lot. Okay. So, or things for the house, and I'll have, we need new coasters, or we need a new umbrella for outside, because if you didn't know, I now work from home. So that's a bit of a life transition. I used to go to work every single day, and I decided that the industry that I was in, I was no longer interested in being in that position or, doing that anymore. I guess I had to, it started in November, and I remember listening to a podcast, and it had, I know her book is around. I'm so chaotic in this episode, honestly. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm so sorry, because I keep just getting up and moving. But, so I listened to Amy Porterfield on, I think it was Ed Milet's podcast. And Amy is so sweet. I'm holding her book right now. But Amy talks about how she was literally in the industry she wanted to be in, but she was just taking notes. She wasn't actually the boss. She was more of a helper. And I was so inspired by her podcast episode. I waited for her book to come out. I was on the waiting list, and when it finally came out, it came out I want to say February it came out, and I got the book and I read it, and it's called 2 Weeks Notice. Find the courage to quit your job, make more money, work where you want, and change the world. So impactful. So I really took that to heart. And actually, so she says to pick a day to quit your job if you're wanting to start your own business or try something new or whatever it is. And I was just so inspired. I literally set a day to quit my job, and that day just came. It was June 1st, 2nd. And I quit my job. My last day in that industry was April 30th. So that, putting that into perspective of, oh my gosh, I had this goal that I wanted to quit my job, and I did it essentially a whole month early. I'm I'm just so proud of myself for setting boundaries, to knowing what I want, and making a really, really uncomfortable decision. So for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's crazy when you plan things and they don't exactly go how you imagine them in your brain, but it's exactly how it should be. It's exactly like how it needed to be. So that honestly was a huge life transition for me. So I'm working from home now, and the job that I have is really flexible, and it allows me to work on my other passions and my other like goals. So I'm home at all times. It's saving me an hour commute at times, like it was 45 minutes to an hour long commute at times. Or if it wasn't like the farthest location, it's saving me 30 minutes, 22 minutes, like depending on where I was gonna be. I love it. Honestly, I might not like it as much in the wintertime, but I doubt it. I've talked to people who work from home, and some people say, you know what, like you're trapped in the house, but I am a homebody. I love to be at home, so like that's not a problem for me. I have been sitting outside we have like this little card table that we actually had for our wedding. We bought like all these tables, and so this was one of the extra ones, and I sit outside with a rain umbrella, like it's very small, and I'm just like huddled underneath my computer typing, working outside. That is something that I imagined for myself at the start of the year. I was like, this is what I want, and I made it happen. So when you do like a little life audit, when you do a little temperature check on what you wanted and what you have, like I'm just so utterly grateful. The next thing I need to get an outdoor umbrella so I can sit outside and really enjoy it, because I want a leisurely morning. I want to be, even though I'm like working, I want to be outside. Like that is what I've imagined for myself for the last 2 years. And now I finally have it, and that just goes to making really super hard, uncomfortable choices, because deep down you know what you need to do. You don't need to ask anybody, you don't need anybody else's opinions. Like deep down you know exactly what to do, and you just have to have enough lady balls to actually get it done, and to actually like take action and have the courage to implement and execute. Let's see, other notes app. Dear Media in Real Life podcast. So I have like a list of things I need to pack for the Dear Media in Real Life podcast event in Austin, Texas. I booked that in November. I've done an episode on it for my birthday. So if you haven't listened to that, I think it dropped like May 15th. I'm looking at my little calendar. That dropped May 15th, so you can go check it out. It is episode 233. That was so much fun. I like planned for that. It was a solo trip. I want to do more solo trips because it just allows me to get in touch with my soul, to get in touch with me, to ask myself what I want, and to kind of block out the noise. I'm planning another one as soon as I get through all of these weddings and events. The summer is really jam-packed with activities. I'm loving every single moment of it. But the Dear Media in Real Life event was so inspiring that I've been thinking about it for a while. I've been planning it for a while. Other podcasters that I aspire to be, like Gals on the Go, they've done live events, and What We Said podcast has done live events, and now the Dear Media Studio did a live event, and it has inspired me to do my own live event. So July 15th, we are having our first live podcast event. I'm so very excited. If you want tickets to this event, the link will be in the show notes down below. I'm jacked. I'm so excited. It is going to be so much fun to just have like a live studio audience. It's my first one. I am very like excited to do it, but I know this is a stepping stone. I know this is going to be like the first step in the right direction, right? And I could not be more excited. I would love for you to join me on July 15th. So check out the link down below. I would love to see you there. It's going to be so great. So that is just crazy to me to think that July is just around the corner, and I have been planning for this, and it's like my one free weekend, honestly. Like when I was booking this back in April, it was even before I went to the Dear Media like live event and saw what they did, but I booked it and I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, July is so far away, and now I'm like thinking, did I have enough time to plan? But it's my only free weekend because we have so many events. We have so many things with our friends and our family that we have to do, and it started April 1st. Our next free weekend will be in August. That's kind of when it starts slowing down, but I have another live event in Scottsville, Arizona that I'll be going to, the Powerhouse Women event. So this is the summer of travel. And another thing that to add to my notes app that I've been thinking about is daydreaming is so good. I will say that. It's like I've been daydreaming a little bit, and I think that it's important to imagine and to brainstorm. But in the mornings right before I start work and I have my computer set up, and I think to myself, Garrett and I both work from home. We can go anywhere we want to, as long as we find a babysitter for our dogs. We can go anywhere we want to. And that means it can open us up for travel. Right now, like I'm traveling and doing things, and I work from home, so I can bring my computer anywhere and I can work from anywhere. And so that makes me even more excited to go on trips and events, because like I can get there and I don't have to worry about being in an office and taking time off. And I know this is like a luxury, and this is something that a lot of people want but just can't do. And it makes me so freaking happy and excited. And just like next year, I don't know how I'll be able to swing it, but it came into my mind. I would love to do like a few weeks abroad. I really, really wanted to study abroad when I was in college, but I was too focused on sorority and I was too focused on being in college, and it was scary for me to think of doing a semester abroad or a month abroad or half a semester abroad, because I felt like I was going to miss out on like being in college. And it's something that I kind of regret a little bit. And so I would love to plan a trip or do something abroad in another country and spend an extended time somewhere else. And I'm not sure how I'm going to swing it, but I would love to try and to experience that. So we will see. I don't know how it will work, but I feel like that would be really, really awesome. So I'm putting it on my inspo board. What do you call it? Dream board. I'm putting it on my dream board. We will see if I can make it happen. I would love to make it happen. I will say I've found that I'll put things on my list that I want to achieve by a certain period. Sometimes it takes a shorter amount of time, like quitting my job, and sometimes it will take a longer time to achieve it, like working from home. But you kind of always end up achieving it in some way or another, whether it's exactly how you imagined it or if it's slightly different than you imagined it. But you got to put it on your board. You got to write it down. I will, if I'm in the truck and I'm driving and I have a thought, because when you're driving, when you're in the shower, you don't have any distractions. And so that's like the perfect time for your brain to get really creative and think and do things. And so I'll be driving and I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I should do that. What about this? And I will voice text it to myself. So I'll be like, okay, like, Logan, you need to do this and that and this and that. And I'll like type it out to myself, but it's just a voice recording. I find that if I do a voice memo, I never go back to read it or never go back to listen to it, because I feel like, okay, get to the point. But if I can skim like and get the main idea of what I was saying, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, like I got it. That makes me feel so much better. So like the text thread between me and myself is insane. It's so long. Like I'll have like thought after thought after thought. And so going and looking at those can be really inspirational too, because I'm like, oh, like you had this thought and it came true. You have to write it down. You have got to get it on paper and to revisit it and see what's happening, because like you never know what will happen. You never know what will come true if you could just like talk it to yourself and like go back to it. So I'm really, really happy for that. Let's see what else is on my little notes app. Addresses. I have a lot of addresses for sure. Sometimes I will like put little snippets of what someone else has done. Oh, podcast ideas. I have a bunch of podcast ideas, like podcast for January 8th, which is Brody's birthday. Everything must go era, throwing it all away and changing habits. And that's so oh, I don't even think I implemented this into a podcast. It says public speaking. I remember on our classes we had to read our essay out loud to get credit. Several times I went up with nothing. I freestyled it and didn't turn in my paper. We had a class in middle school that I would literally have to like write a paper. It was like something insane. Like every week we had to write a paper and turn it in. He would give us like writing prompts, and I like sometimes would forget to write this down. So I would literally have a blank, and he probably knew it. Like Mr. Sorensen, he probably knew it. I don't care. I didn't want to be embarrassed that I didn't do it. Here's the thing, like I'm a very good kid, and because people think I'm such a good kid, sometimes I'll get away with things because like I'm so good, right? Like my character, like what's it called? Beseeches me or whatever. Oh, what is that phrase? I don't know. But I like would go up there and I wouldn't have a piece of paper done, like I wouldn't have written anything out, and I would just like tell a story up there. So it's so funny like to think about that. And now I sit down and I podcast and I just pull stuff from, you know, my brain and I talk to you guys. It's a form of improv for sure. But I would go up there and I would like read this paper, or sometimes it would be like a story from before. Like I would have an extra copy of it and I would just like keep it and return it in. But I would go up there and I would have nothing and I would just be like, okay, once upon a time I went down to the street and the street had some nice kitty cats. Like it would just, I would make it up, and I hope I bullshitted good enough that nobody knew in my class, but honestly and truly, like I didn't do the assignment. So that's really funny. I don't know if I have talked about that on an episode or not, but that just goes to show, like I wrote it down because sometimes like you'll have some who knows what it was, but it triggered a memory in your brain to where you're like, oh, like I can't believe, like what brought that on? Because it can be totally random. So whenever I'm driving, I'm like, oh, like write this down, put it in the notes app. Or if I am doing anything, honestly, and I'm like, oh, great idea, write that down. Especially like making money ideas. If you don't have a notes app that is making money ideas, you're doing stuff wrong. So whenever I, get to a point in my life, I'll be like, oh, like I can implement this. Oh, I can do this. Like there's definitely, it's random. I read the book, like I Will Teach You. No, that's the wrong one. I always recommend Ramit Sethi, which he has a new Netflix series that's insane. I love Ramit Sethi, he's so good. But it's called, I'm sure you've heard it before, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he, in the story, talks about looking for ways to make money will open your brain up to like creative ideas and being open to new and different ways. So I have a note that says money making ideas, because you never know when you'll find inspiration. You never know when you will get struck by the perfect idea, the perfect thing. So that's why I have one. Let's see what else is in here. Always stuff to buy. Like I always have so many things to buy. Christmas list. So for Christmas, Garrett needs something for edging grass. He did not get that for Christmas this year. Last Christmas we went to Chicago. So and it's crazy. It's kind of full circle. We're going to Chicago for the 4th of July. That weekend. I'm so excited. We'll be going to see NASCAR. It's their first ever like time in Chicago, so should be fun. His sister and her boyfriend live in Chicago, so it's always fun to visit them and hang out. That was gonna be like our first free weekend, and then of course Garrett wants to fill it up. He always tells me that I'm the one who like sees a free weekend and it's like grabs my pen to like fill it. I do like being scheduled. I do like having something to do, and it makes me really excited to plan for the future. It helps me relax in the present on, okay, like I know what I'm doing today because it's on the calendar. I don't have to worry about a thing because it's already been pre-planned. It's already been thought out. So all I have to do is follow the playbook, follow the schedule. I love scheduling. I love to mess with all the pieces in my life and figure out how I can maximize it and how I can make sure that I am getting the full summer experience. I mean, State of the Union summer is so exciting, so fun also. Like the State of the Union summer edition, like the things that are in and out. So if you're listening to this right now, I will do a summer State of the Union. We will do the podcast episode the week of the official start to summer. I've already done a summer guide, but I would love to hear your ins and out for summer. So we'll do a little State of the Union ourselves. But I love to kind of plan my summer and think, okay, like this is what we're doing, this is what's in. And then, you know, whatever my outs are. So go ahead and DM me at Golden Hour Drip for all your outs and all your ins, honestly. I would love to hear it because summer is officially around the corner. I've been saying it's summer since April. So the fact that it's actually like warm and hot out and I'm able to work outside and ground myself being in the grass. Summer garden is coming around. Let's do a little update on the garden. So tomatoes are thriving. I just planted cucumbers. Oh my gosh, so annoying. So the tomatoes are thriving. We should have our first fruit, probably give it 2 weeks. Our cucumbers just got planted though. That's how like busy I have been. My garden only had tomatoes and I'm so glad that I planted the tomatoes when I did. I like did it at 8 p.m. It was pitch black outside and I put them in the ground. I've had 2 tomato plants break off and die. So I usually like trim my tomatoes and shorten them a bit so they're more bushy than super, super tall. And I grafted 2 tomatoes from broken tomato plants. So they grew in my windowsill, they got roots and I put them in the ground. So they're spectacular, like so happy about that. So it'll be the first wave of tomatoes and then like the 2 plants that I planted probably a month after the other ones because they had to grow roots inside. I had to do a little TLC. They will produce fruit afterwards, so it'll kind of be like phase 1, phase 2, and I won't have like so many freaking tomatoes. I also have basil that I just planted with my cucumbers, so cucumbers and basil. Hopefully I will be able to have 1 pesto, but 2 homemade salsa. Like hell yeah, I'm excited for it. I planted Romas and grape tomatoes. This summer, I knew I was going to be outside more, but with all the events, like, I'm struggling to find all the time to be at home and be in a routine. I will say a little life update on, like, my workout grind. It stopped. Like, what makes me so sad is my iPhone today alerted me about my new trends. You're kidding me. That literally kick a girl when she's down, okay? It says, like, workout trends. You have walked less. You have stood up less. You have burned less calories. You are a slug. That's literally what my iPhone told me today. I was so sad, but I need to walk more. I do need to move my body. With this life transition that I've had from going into the office to now being at home, and also not even being at home. The first week of May, I was in Iowa. The second week, I was home. And then that weekend, I went to Texas. I'm looking at my calendar right now. Second week, I went into Texas that was the first week. First week of May, I was in Iowa. Then I went to Texas. Then I was home for a few days. Then we had a wedding on the 13th. Then I, that week, that was a free week. I had 1 week of, like, calm. I forget what we did May 20th, but I'm sure we did something. And then the next week, it was one thing after another. Oh, I think it was everything is running together. I don't know. I only have my podcast calendar in here, so I'm looking at the podcast calendar. But I had a bachelorette trip for Rachel. That was so much fun. That was in Des Moines. I took some photos for, like, my website. So I was in Iowa, I had to come back to Missouri, and then I went back to Iowa, so that was really annoying. Then this last weekend, we had I know we're in June now, but we had a bridal shower. Oh, now I remember what was the 20th. That was my cousin's, the 27th. Who knows? I'm not even going to get into it. We had 2 graduations during that time as well, and then a bachelorette. And so now we're in June. I had a bridal shower yesterday. That was so much fun. It was Adriana, one of my best friends, sorority sisters, and what do you call it? Like a cousin-in-law. It's Garrett's cousin. I'm married to Garrett, her cousin, so now we're related, which is great. But we had her bridal shower. It was awesome. I love an event, okay? Like, I just love getting ready. I love planning for it. I love crafting for it. Like, that is what makes me so happy when I can just go and have, I don't know, I like being on display. I like being the center of attention. I don't know, like, that's just, maybe it's because I am the oldest. Maybe it's because there's so many issues. We won't even get into that. But I like being the center of attention. And so this is not sounding right. Center of attention in regards to, like, helping plan it. Now I sound very self-centered. I like being the center of attention for events and planning it in regard to, like, showcasing someone else too. I love to do things for other people, but I like the recognition. I'm sure you relate. I'm being very honest. Like, I love to put something together, even though I did not do much for the bridal shower. Like, I literally did, like, 2 things, but I, like, cut the flowers and I put them in a flower vase. And so anybody who says, oh my gosh, those flowers are so beautiful, I'll be like, thank you, I did them. Like, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to outshine the bride. I love doing things for other people and getting the recognition. You do too. Don't even act like I'm selfish. Like, I promise you, you've had this thought. We all like recognition. We all love, like, doing things for other people so that we get a pat on the back. It's human nature. It's fine. So we did that, and it was so much freaking fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I've always loved to plan events or to be involved in the making or the production of things, right? Like, I like that. So for my sister's graduation, like, I love being in the nitty-gritty, getting it together part, like laying out her photos or cutting the cake. Maybe it's because I feel like super awkward talking to people sometimes, like small talk at events. So I like having a role, and I really shine in those roles. So that's what I mean by like being the center of the cake cutting experience, or putting the photos out, or cutting the flowers and putting them in a vase, or Adriana's maid of honor and we like put together the backdrop. I like being part of it. Like, I don't know, it makes me so freaking happy. It was a beautiful bridal shower. Adriana is stunning. I cannot wait for her wedding. Luckily, it's in September, so we have plenty of time to recuperate from the summertime. But I couldn't be more happy. And when I was thinking about it, like going back into college, right? Like if I think about college time and when we first started dating, like me and Garrett, and then her and Christian, and to now, like we're adults and she's getting married. Like, it's so precious to me, and it's so like just full circle thinking about life then and now being in life right now. It's insane. It's so much fun. I'm just really enjoying it and loving it. And then also my cousin got married, so on the same day as the bridal shower. I was a little bit hectic, I will say. So Adriana's bridal shower, I stayed up until 1:30 trying to prepare things for the bridal shower. Last minute, of course, because I just haven't caught a break, and I'm not trying to complain. I thrive in the craziness. That's part of my damage. Like, I don't know, I love it when things are like so busy. It's more like I need to focus on being quiet and grounding and not letting my brain go to one thing to another. That's why I love reading so much, because it slows me down and it allows me to think about not part of my life, right? Like, it allows me to just sit, not be on social media, not be on anything, just like chill, because I like to go. So it's harder for me to relax and to not feel guilty about it. So that's why when I have so much going on, I'm thriving, I'm loving it, because I like the crazy. All right, so I'm staying up super late. I'm painting her little wooden bin to put bottles of wine in. My mom does this thing, it's like first anniversary on a little wine tag. So at each major event of your first year of marriage, like, you're able to share a bottle of wine. She did it for me, she did it for my sisters. It's so cute. So I've started, Adriana was my first one to do it for, but it was so cute, like really memorable. But I had to paint the bin because you can't put it in a bag. Like, wine is kind of heavy, so you can't just put it in like a little gift bag. You have to get creative. So I like had to paint this bin, put it in. It was fun. It was great. It was dandy. But I also like made this board. This is what I mean, like center of attention. I like the attention being brought to me. I like helped make this. It was her aunt, my mother-in-law, and her mom's idea to have like this little board of bridesmaids on it. And it was like, okay, how do you know the bride? I love to put that together, because then they'd be like, oh my gosh, like, who made this board? I made this board. Me. I'm always like very like humble in the moment, but in my brain, I'm going crazy. I'm like, yes, like, I'm glad that you like it. Like, I'm glad that it brought joy to someone else, right? And Adriana really liked it. That was honestly, it was a high in my brain. I was flipping over backwards. I was like, it goes to show, like, when you do something and they really appreciate it, it makes it 100 times more better. 100 times more better. So I'd stayed up late, I got it completed. I felt so good about everything. And I also had a wedding to photograph because my cousin got married yesterday. And so I'm recording this on Sunday, obviously. But he and his bride, his beautiful bride, got married, and they asked me to photograph the wedding. And so I took photos, and I'm always like so nervous, and my heart's pounding. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, are the photos going to turn out? Because you can retake engagement photos, you can retake maternity photos, you can retake a lot of things, but you know what you cannot retake? wedding photos. It's generational, because this is what they're going to show their future children. This is what their children are going to show their children, right? Like, these are the photos that will last them a lifetime and generations to come. So there's an added pressure. It's like they have got to be good, or if they're not good, like that, it's heartbreaking because it's their wedding. You cannot mess up wedding photos, right? And I had done their engagement photos. They loved their engagement photos, and I felt the pressure to make sure that their wedding photos were so good. So I had the bridal shower in the morning, and I had to be at the wedding venue, which is my aunt and uncle's farm. It's so cute. At noon, and so I was there at noon. I was running on very little sleep. I'd gotten up at like 6 that morning, so that's only 5 hours, of sleep. I had unfortunate, this is what I'm talking about, like the health and nutrition side of me, because I had a Red Bull to get me going. Those things are so bad. I have this new app on my phone. It's called Yuka, Y-U-K-A. It has been so fun, but also so sad, because I will scan things and I will think like, oh, this is a health food. Like, this food should be good for me, and it's actually bad. Like, it'll rate 0. Just to give you an example, because it shows like a history of what I've looked at. So we have this buffalo chips. They are protein chips made with chicken, okay? Tastes different, okay? It's a bizarre thing. Maybe you've heard of them, but they're called wild chips. They're buffalo protein chips. And you would think, okay, like protein chips, like they're supposed to be good for me. So they ranked 34 out of 100. Too caloric and too salty, too much sodium. They have 310 milligrams of salt for these like little chicken things. Excellent source of protein, but they ranked so low. Like, I thought that was a health food. I like did this Core Power high protein milkshake vanilla. You know what I'm talking about. They're at the gas stations. Because I've done so much traveling, I have been like having to buy my snacks at the gas station because I'm in the car, or I am on an airplane, right? Like the little convenience, or I'm not at home, I'm somewhere else. So like, I don't have my pantry. I don't have my routine of going shopping. So this Core Power protein milkshake, you would think that it would rank pretty high because it's a protein shake. Like, it's marketed as a health food. It ranked 25 out of 100, and that rating is poor. Like, it literally says poor. So the negatives is the additives. So I looked, it says like more information on the additives. So it says E9 fat, can't even read numbers. It says E950. Acesulfate Fami K. It's a sweetener. It says red, hazardous. I'm not gonna, it's bad when you can't even read them. It's acesulfame potassium is an intense artificial sweetener. Intense sweeteners may promote metabolic disorders such as glucose intolerance. In addition, they may have no effect on weight control. 2 studies in 2022 suggested an association between the overall consumption of sweeteners and an increased risk of cancer and cardiovascular disease. Again, I'm not a doctor, okay? This is an app I have on my phone. It's called Yuka, Y-U-K-A. Take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. But I'm like, are you kidding? Like, then it has Carlos, and it has a carrageen, and it has a gum and a stevia. Like, I can't even pronounce these, but I mean, I can't pronounce a lot of things anyways, but it says hazardous, moderate risk, limited risk, but like, there's still additives and something that you would think would be like good for you. And I'm sad to say, So I scanned a Red Bull, and Red Bull is like, hold on. So I scanned the red one, the watermelon one, 24 out of 100, and it's because of the additives. But the blue one is the worst. The blue literally was like 0 because it had like blue dye in it. So I know Red Bulls are bad for you. I know they're bad for you. I've literally like Googled it. Okay, everywhere you look, it says it's bad for you. I love a Red Bull though. I love Red Bull so much. And yesterday was like a chaotic day. It was chaotic. So I needed some Red Bull, and I I asked Garrett, I texted him, I was like, please bring me an apricot strawberry Red Bull. Those are my favorite ones. So good, so good. So sad that they're so bad for me. But I loved it. I loved every single minute of it, and I did not even feel bad when I drank it, because if you're gonna eat or do something that's, might contain additives that are not beneficial for your body, you can either feel guilty about it and beat yourself even up even more, or you can say, hey, I don't do this all the time, it's okay. It's okay. So I had my Red Bull. It was so good. It helped me get up and go, and I was able to crush it. I always get a little nervous when I'm photographing because, like I said, it's generational. It is the end all be all. It's their wedding day. It could be argued that there is no more important day than your wedding day. It's very transformative. You are essentially committing yourself to a person for life, right? That's what marriage is all about. You don't get married with the intention of divorce. So I was a little stressed. It's people that I love, and I crushed it. I went to edit photos that night, but since I was running on so much little sleep, I needed to go to bed. My eyes were bloodshot. They were bloodshot when I woke up though. I will say a little hack to get yourself going when you're exhausted is I got one of our big bowls of, it's like a little stainless steel bowl, a mixing bowl. I put ice in there and water, and I dunked my face. I was dipping it in, and I would hold it until I couldn't breathe, and then I'd take it out. I dunked my face 4 times because it was puffy and sunken at the same time. How the hell can you be puffy and sunken at the same time? That's what really makes me so sad. So my cheeks was puffy, I could feel I was retaining salt, but underneath my eyes were just so sunken in. I might look tired today too, but it was not a good look, and I was oh gosh. So I was dunking, and my eyes were bloodshot from staying up so late and then trying to wake up. I have not drank enough water in general, so I've been trying to, when I don't drink enough water, I can tell my eyes are more dry, and so when I have my contacts in, it sucks, right? So I dunked my face, and it's just trying to depuff and revitalize my skin. I am very lucky. I had a facial the day before, so I know that helped me not look so horrible. And let's just, if you're in the Warrensburg area, so I went to college at UCM, and I live in the suburbs, or I live outside of Warrensburg, but Warrensburg is our main shopping place. That's where we go. There is a med spa. It is called Redefine. It is my happy place. It is the only, it's just so good. And the Jen Miles is the, I think she's the manager of it, but she's a facialist, an esthetician, and she has been gone for the last 2 months. She had to have surgery on her shoulder, and she was back, and it honestly made my entire life. She gave me the most amazing facial. I felt so relaxed. She put a couple masks on me. She cleaned my nose out. I have had blackheads since I was in middle school. As soon as I hit puberty, blackheads. So freaking sad. I tried to like boost my confidence and say that they were like freckles, but I know they're not freckles. Like, isn't that embarrassing? Because literally in middle school I was like, they're just freckles. No, they're not freckles. They're literally blackheads. That's gross. But she has been the only person to clean them out. Like, clean them all out. It makes me so happy. My nose is always like the smallest little pores because she has like done so much like work to them. I have been getting a facial every single month since December. It has been my choice of self-care. I feel so relaxed and loved when I give myself a facial, and Jen was back. I had had like 3 facials without her and it was heartbreaking. It was so sad. And so they had like someone to like fill in for her. She was great. She was awesome. But nobody can replace Jen. Like she's a rock star and I love her. So it was great to see her. I got my facial. I picked up some new serums because for my birthday. They're so sweet. Melanie and Abby. Melanie does like my Botox. I've gotten, in December I got 9 cc's in the middle of my like little forehead. And then this past April, I got another 6 cc's of Botox in the middle, right there. Melanie does the Botox for me. Melanie has also done laser, so I've got my armpits and my bikini area, lasered. So nice for summer, honestly, so nice for summer. But Melanie is like the sweetest ever. And then Abby is their like receptionist. She always helps me schedule everything. Like, and because my calendar is so full, like she's always so sweet and has the best suggestions. But it was like the first time all 3 of us were together again for months. And so literally crackhead energy when I walked in, I was just like, these are my girls. Like, oh, it's so good to see them. And I got like my facial and another round of laser, and it's just pampering. But I know that if I would not have gotten a facial, my skin would have looked pretty rough for the bridal shower and for the wedding, because I've now been drinking enough water and I've been out in the sun because I've been outside. This is why the Notes app, like, buy an umbrella. Like, I'm about to. I need an umbrella so freaking bad, so that I can, here's the thing, I've been wearing sunscreen. I love the Ordinary mineral sunscreen. I wear that all the freaking time, every single day. I'm applying it. If I put tinted moisturizer on, my tinted moisturizer has SPF in it. It's a Maybelline. I love that stuff so much. I'm putting on sunscreen, but because I have so much sun exposure, I'm in the sun and I'm like, stop. Like, I want to be in the sun. I want to experience my summer and I want to have fun. And I know it is worse for you to stress about the bad things that you're doing instead of just like taking those bad things in stride. Not like super bad. I'm talking about being out in the sun when you should be protecting your skin so you're not wrinkly, drinking a Red Bull, nothing too intense, okay? That's bad to me, okay? Like, that's my level of bad, like forgetting to put on sunscreen when I go outside, or drinking a Red Bull when I'm a little tired. Like, that's like my level of I'm being terrible, right? So doing those things can be like, if you stress about them, like that's gonna be more bad for you than if you were to just do them and be okay with it, because that was the moment, that was the situation. But I've been in the sun a lot. I've been having a lot of sun exposure, and so I knew that Jen would work her magic. I've not been drinking enough water. I have been feral, okay? And I'm not even like that crazy. Like, I've just been I've been enjoying life and loving it so much and so happy about where I am in life and everything that has unfolded. I have not been this happy for a while. And I think sometimes it is situational. Sometimes it is just what you gotta get through until you can get to the good stuff. But I've been so freaking just like, I'm not gonna get emotional. I've just been so happy and so like grateful for every single moment, and I'm telling myself it's okay. Like, if you're watching on YouTube you see me sitting in my white chair, but you can't see everything around me. It is so messy in here. I have art supplies over here. I have paint, and I have like tissue paper trash, and I have right in front of me like a air mattress box that we bought a new air mattress for my mom and sister and stepdad and brother to come and sleep over, but we didn't have enough beds, so we had to buy a new air mattress. That was literally at Brooklyn's graduation. It has been 4 weeks. This has just been sitting there. I have a stack of blankets over here. Don't even get me started on my kitchen. Like, it is, actually Garrett did dishes, God bless him. I have the best husband. But like, my kitchen table is full and packed of stuff because I've been working from home. So I've been sitting at the kitchen table, like, because when Garrett started working from home, we let him be in my office, and like, it's chaotic, but it's so good. Like, I just have been so grateful for every single moment, everything that has been happening. And I'm just like, this is the stuff that I've been planning for and waiting for, because like, it just like, I don't even know how to describe it besides like, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting to be just like so happy with what is going on, and busy in the way that fills my cup and doesn't like drag me down. And I'm on a high right now. I'm just like feeling so good about where I am in life, even if I have not gotten enough sleep, even if my house is a mess. Like, I'm a very structured girly. I love having my ducks in a row. I love having a routine. I love having all these things. And in years past, I would have felt so disorganized. I would have felt so not well. I would feel unwell for sure about not having a steady routine, or having to go and do it, not having enough time for myself. So like today, I never do this, but because of everything that had gone on, we got home at midnight last night. I wanted to edit photos, but I didn't because my eyes are bloodshot and I need to take my contacts out. I slept until 9:30 today, guys. Like, I never do that. Like, 6:30 is the latest I went to sleep in. And so to wake up at 9:30, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I needed the sleep. But then on top of that, I took another nap today. Like, I immediately like hopped on my computer. I edited a few photos for William and Ashley because I love them. I wanted to do a few like last night, but I needed to not do too much. That's also been like a core theme of this year, and I think it's really been helping me not get overwhelmed by all the stuff that's happening. It's like, don't do too much, like focus on what you can focus on, do what you need to do. Don't do too much to where you're stressed or letting a few balls fall, you know, like if you're juggling a bunch of things, if you add another ball, like they're all gonna freaking fall. So I know I had to go to bed, but this morning I like woke up, I edited, I picked 10. I thought 10 was a good number because they got married on June 10th. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. Like, 10, that's cute. So I sent them over 10 photos. I edited them. I went and I got breakfast with my dad and brother. We haven't done that for so long. And we grabbed breakfast at one of my favorite cafes, and I came home and I took a nap, guys. I took a 5-hour nap. I got home at like noon. It was like 12:30 and I slept until 5:30. That's how you know I've been running ragged. I've not slept like that since I was in college, like studying for exams. I remember coming home one day, it was like 1:30, one of my classes had gotten canceled. I came home, I commuted, so I lived with my dad during college, and I came home and I literally, I like laid on the couch and I fell asleep until like 7 p.m. I had slept like a full 6 hours on the couch. And the thing is, my dad had came into the house, saw me sleeping, and he like afterwards that evening he had came home at like 6:30 and he was like, hey, like, Logan, woke me up a little bit, so sweet. And he's like, do you want supper? And I was like, what time is it? He goes, 6:30. I was like, Dad, why didn't you wake me up? Like, I got home at 1, it was like 1:30 or something. It doesn't matter. It was a long time that I slept. And he was like, well, I thought you might need it. And that has stuck with me, honestly. Like, I hate missing out, right? Like, we all have a little bit of FOMO at times, and I think it stems, actually, I have this one memory, like I said earlier in this episode, when you think about things and it triggers another memory. I have a memory. We were traveling from like Georgia or Iowa, because I lived in Georgia for a little bit, and we came to Warrensburg, because that's my mom's alma mater. This is where all of our friends are, whatever. And she and her friend Christina, they were like staying up at the hotel. We were in a hotel and they were staying up late. And I remember laying down just for a second, sleeping on the floor. There was 5 kids in the house, okay? Like, a hotel room only has a few beds. But I remember like making my little bed and like getting it ready, because I'm a very particular child and adult. So I had like my pillow and my blanket, and I had it all ready. And at the time, like, there was these little American Girl dolls. They were like minis. They were like this big. They were very cute. And I had Samantha, so I had like Samantha right next to my bed, and I was like, okay, and I just like laid in there for a second. I fell the hell asleep. I was so mad. They went to Taco Bell that night, and I felt so much FOMO. The next morning I woke up and there's Taco Bell trash. I was like, what happened? They're like, oh, sorry, Logan, like, you fell asleep, so we went to Taco Bell without you. I think I was 8. Like, I was so sad. I was like, that was the first start of FOMO. But I hate, like, when you allow yourself to like do something and you miss out. You fall asleep, if you fall asleep first at the party, you don't get to do all the things. And so like today, when I slept for so long, I could beat myself up and be like, oh, I wasted my Sunday. But because life has been so good, like, I've not had any fear of Mondays. I've had no Sunday scaries. And this is crazy for me to think, like, I've had no Sunday scaries since the start of May. I love it. It's freaking amazing. So I honestly am just really, really happy with where we're at and what we've been doing and how I've been living this life. And so this just goes to show that no matter what is happening or how bad it is, it will get so much better and it will become exactly what you're needing. Or, to be honest, like, even better than you could have ever imagined. And if I could just go back to a few years ago and just hug that version of myself and tell myself, like, it's gonna be okay. Like, you are going through this for a reason, so that when it gets good, it's the best it's ever been. And you can be totally immersed and totally just extra grateful for it, right? You cannot fully appreciate the highs if you don't have the lows, as sucky as the lows are. And this is just the period in my life. It's go. It is crazy, and I'm taking it in stride, and it's gonna be great. So it's okay that everything is disorganized and that I feel a little feral. This week, I'm hopeful to just get everything reset. I said this last week, it didn't quite happen. If you have not listened to that episode, go ahead and listen to that next after this, of resetting and recuperation. So I'm hopeful to implement that, because this upcoming weekend is my best friend Andrew's wedding. He's getting married to Rachel, and that, I know it's going to be the time. It is going to be iconic. It is going to be everything, and I cannot wait to just fully immerse myself and be in it. So resting and recuperation was definitely needed for Sunday. A reset. Oh my gosh. Our power just went out. If you're watching on YouTube, it went totally dark for a second. We've had some storms with all the rain and stuff, so that was a little weird, but I'm just really, really excited for this upcoming week. I'm going to be resetting and getting my house organized so then I can fully enjoy this upcoming weekend with no what's it called, the little troll on your back thinking, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. Instead, to just be hey, we're good. I'm good. I can take this time to like have fun and not have the fear of the obligations that are waiting for me, honestly, right? So very, very excited and just really loving my life and everything in it. And that's not to brag. That is just to say, like, I'm to a point where I'm happy, and I wasn't happy before. So extra grateful. I'm gonna get off before I start crying again. I feel like I'm always crying on this podcast, but I just feel like I can be completely honest with every single one of you, and this is real. Like, it's real, okay? I'm not hiding nothing. All the nitty gritty, all the not pretty, I'm here to share it. So thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, subscribe to our Fast Fridays. I send an extra episode every single week. And that link will also be in the description if you checked out for the tickets for our live event. So thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate you. I love you. And until next time, bye.